We are all here and has been held in custody by Iyoko, and so we wanted to see him and see how he was doing. We've made those arrangements. Unfortunately, we are here, but the NIB and Iyoko feel that the crowd is such that they are not able to bring him here at the moment, and they will have to make proper arrangements to bring him so that we can see him. And we are going to continue making those arrangements. We are very, very disappointed in our inability to see him because we had made prior arrangements, and so we've expressed our disappointment, and we want to continue and to make sure that we can see him. I must put on record that the bail conditions that have been set for Chairman Wontumi's bail, 50 million Ghana cedis, is very onerous. I don't know how many people in Ghana can have property with 50 million Ghana cedis. And I believe that this was just set to prevent his timely release. We are going to follow the due process, the legal process, to make sure that he's released as soon as possible. I want to plead with all of you to remain calm as we work behind the scenes to make sure that he is out. I believe that we will be successful, but we have to be calm and not take the law into our own hands. I think it's very important that we follow due process and make sure that Chairman Wontumi is released safe and sound. Thank you very much for your attention.
Instead, you interrogate him, he makes himself available. Your next thing is that go and bring title property worth 50 million cedis. What kind of country are we in? Have they looked at the constitution? They should vary the bill term. The man is unwell. He's in their custody. They know. So they should vary. Wontumi will not run anywhere. And I'm telling our friends in the NDC, 4 years will soon come. And if they think what they are doing is right, they should watch it. They should watch it. Treat others the way you expect them to do unto you.
Are you?
Treat others the way you expect them to treat you.
Are you?
So if you keep Wontumi, is he using bail to punish him? We are here, we are protesting. We are here protesting. We expect him to do the right thing. What has Wontumi done? Why are they? If you come out in a buy, or buy and when Janio or police headquarters. Bonnie be almost a wayano. Moody H. Marco China by Yoko of Yomusankofa, a Japadia, worth 50 million cities of our title document in Bransa. Obiba knows all the document will say, Yakoshu Mansa, Nippon as I said, or Konunio, or natural frustration. What kind of country are we in? No. They should use their time to govern, not to oppress opponents. That's all. What is happening to Wontumi can happen to me today, tomorrow. It can happen to my respected senior here, tomorrow. My mother here. Enough is enough. We are not just going to walk away. We are not just going to walk away. We'll be here. We'll be here.
We are not here again to obstruct investigations, but we are here because a line has been crossed. A dangerous, unacceptable line that signals that state of power can now be used to humiliate, traumatize, and silence citizens under the pretext of justice. Ladies and gentlemen, let us be clear. This was not an arrest. It was a clear ambush. It was a calculated display of brute force. A man who voluntarily submitted himself to the CID in good faith, who was cooperating fully with lawful investigations, was less than 24 hours later subjected to militarized operation straight out of dictatorship playbook. He was seized like a fugitive, much like a criminal, and hauled into detention without any dignity or respect owed to any citizen, let alone one who had not resisted the law. And what was the result? He collapsed. He was hospitalized. His health broke under the sheer weight of Iyoko's cruelty. Is this what justice looks like in Ghana today? Is this what our democracy has become? Chairman Wontumi may be the target today, but make no mistake, this is not just about him. This is about a dangerous pattern that is emerging under this government. The misuse of state institutions to settle political scores, the erosion of impartiality in our law enforcement agencies, and the growing culture of fear and silence that is being imposed on our political discourse. We cannot, and we will not allow Iyoko, the NIB, the police, or any state agency to be weaponized for political intimidation. We will not allow our democracy to be defiled by power-drunk actors who believe they are above the law. And we will not allow the Ghanaian people to be deceived into thinking that this is ordinary justice at work. If there are genuine concerns to be investigated, let them be pursued pursued with fairness, with transparency, and with dignity. But what we witnessed was none of what? What we witnessed was the abuse of the law by those entrusted to uphold it. What we witnessed was a shameful chapter in our democratic journey, one that we must resist, reject, and remember. The minority in Parliament stands united, resolute, and unafraid. We will continue to speak power, truth to power. We will continue to walk the path of justice, no matter the cost, even at the peril of our lives, because we believe that Ghana must never be a country where political differences are punished with persecution, where opposition is met with oppression, where speaking out means being dragged out. Ladies and gentlemen, this work is not the end. It is the beginning of a multiplicity of factors and actions to be staged in the days ahead of us. It is only the beginning, a beginning of vigilance, a beginning of resistance, a beginning of people rising to reclaim the soul of this republic from those who trade in it for control. The Ioko, well, to the Ioko, to this government, and to those watching.
My name is Kwaku Owusu Ejay Pato, and you're welcome to Inside on Metro Television. I'm sitting in for your regular host, Moro Awudu, and between now and 10 o'clock, we'll be looking at Chairman Wuntumi's issue. We'll be giving you an update, and then we'll be diving into discussions and be finding out what it is and where the issue is as we speak. And joining me to do the discussion will be Dr. Sofo Rashid Tanko Computer. Is the Deputy Director of Elections for the National Democratic Congress, and Ernest Adade is also a member of the NPP communications team, a private legal practitioner. Theophilus Donko is also around, and Professor John Osai Kwapon is Project Director at Democracy Project and a CDD Fellow. He will also be joining us on Zoom, and also the Member of Parliament for, an MPP Member of Parliament, Vincent Esefua, will also be joining us live via Zoom. And so we are taking a short break, and after that, I'll be introducing you to the guests, and then we'll be diving into the discussions.
Mommy.
Michelle say, fe.
Different era, better result. Time has changed and time has brought Kel Choco Toothpaste. Healthy gums, anti-cavity, fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Kel Choco Toothpaste. Sankofa.
Yenchi. Kel Choco Toothpaste.
Happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
Buy affordable service plots and lands from Estate Masters. Currently selling our Nest Cottage, located at the newly proposed Airport City, with a starting price of 25,000 Ghana cedis. We also have Palm Hills, located at Panfukuro in the Bomwa East District, also with a starting price of 15,000 Ghana cedis. Available also is Coastal Park in Lakpleku, which is a 15 minutes drive from the Ngo Senior High School, having a starting price of 55,000 Ghana cedis. You will receive a free site plan with indenture once you successfully purchase a land from us. For any enquiries, contact the numbers provided. Estate Masters, your most preferred estate partner.
Yes, next. Hey, Nadia Benson,
Me didn't tum. Mr. Femi Kalika just call me cockroach. Now, Mr. Femi once now.
Hey, that's you. Improve. Yeah. Captain Mosquito, double the action.
Me Sasso spray. Mr. Femi Sasso quell.
Yeah, go to my Sasso. Sasso, come and tum preko.
Right, so it's Inside Pages on Metro Television. Once again, my name is Kweku Owusu Eje Pato, and this morning we are looking at Chairman Uwuntumi's issue. You remember he was arrested somewhere on Monday on the 27th of this month, and he was invited by the CID, that's the Criminal Investigation Department of the Ghana Police, and after he was done with them, he was also whisked away by the Yoko. And he's been there up until now. And so we'll be looking at what the situation is like. We remember yesterday the former vice president tried to visit him, but we hear because of one or two issues he was not able to get to him. We've been listening to his lawyer, Andy Apiakubi, and also we've been watching how issues are coming up. And then we're going to look at the issue as it is now. Joining us to do the discussion, as I indicated earlier, would be Dr. Sofo Rashid Tanko Computer, who is the Director of Elections for the Governing National Democratic Congress. And also we have with us lawyer Theophilus Donko, is a private legal practitioner. Welcome to the program, and let's look at how the issues. I'm going to start with lawyer Theophilus Donko. Let's look at the legal aspect of it. He's been in custody for over 48 hours, and people are raising some concerns as to the legalities in that. Let's look at it. Is it? And we've been also hearing from other people that he was arrested. He was arrested by warrant, and so it's okay for him to be in custody for more than 48 hours. So please let us walk us into it. How is it like? How is it done? I mean, when you're arrested by warrant, is it okay for you to be in custody for more than 48 hours?
Thank you for having me. Before I deal with the issue of warrant, I want to talk about liberty in general.
Okay.
If you look at Chapter 5 of the 1992 Republican Constitution, it states fundamental human rights. And after it has described in Article 2 how it should be respected, who should respect it, then Article 13 talks about the right to life, and then 14 talks about the right to liberty, and says that liberty should not be taken away. And if you look at the way the Constitution is written. When it comes to those rights, including the right to liberty, it doesn't even say that if you are a Ghanaian, unlike certain positions or the right to vote, the right to exercise certain rights will be limited to Ghanaians. But when it comes to this right, including liberty, it says any person within the jurisdiction of Ghana is entitled to that liberty. And the liberty is so fundamental, as lawyers will normally say, that it's so sacrosanct that it should not be jeopardized with. One American judge said that liberty is so fundamental that it should not be forfeited at the zeal of a government agent or an agency. So it tells you, and the court have spoken so much about this liberty, the circumstances under which it should be taken. We all know of the case of Martin Kpebu versus the Attorney General, which has developed our law on the issue of bail. I must also state that there is a practice direction by the former Chief Justice Sophia Akofo as to how issues of bail should be determined. Now, the issue of warrant. If you arrest somebody on a warrant, which we call bench warrant, what you are supposed to do is to produce the person before that court or any other court. It is for this one of these reasons why we have district court in every district, so that even if you arrest me in Tamale, but the court that issued the warrant is in Takoradi, you can produce me before a district court or any court in Tamale to say that, my lord, your brother or your sister in Takoradi has issued this warrant, but we have arrested the person, but we need directives. The law is that once you arrest somebody on a bench warrant, it is the court that is asking you to bring the person. So you are not supposed to keep the person.
But do we have different kinds of warrants? Because we hear Yoko, I mean, did Yoko seek its warrant from court? Or they also have powers to also issue their own warrants?
An officer at a certain level at Yoko can issue a warrant for your arrest.
So which of the levels?
I think that the director and the deputy director can issue those warrants for your arrest.
Oh, okay. And is that to be, certified by the court or what?
No. That one you don't need.
You can do it on your own.
On your own. The police also from ASP and above can issue a warrant for your arrest. Once you are arrested, within the 48 hours kicking. So even if he's arrested by a warrant by an officer of Yoko, the 48 hours will also kick in at the same time. The law is that
I listened to his lawyer Andy Apiakobi, and he was explaining that because he was arrested by warrant, it is not unlawful for him to be in custody for more than 48 hours. He sees nothing wrong with it, and he says if there is anything wrong with the issue, it should be about the law that established Yoko. I mean, it's a law that has given Yoko the powers to be able to do that. And so he was, implying that he was trying to explain that there isn't anything wrong with more than 48 hours because it is an arrest by warrant.
Before I answer your question, I want to commend my senior Andy Apiakobi, the way he has handled the issue.
Yeah.
I think he has brought some level of clarity, some level of calmness into, and that is what is expected of any lawyer, and especially a senior lawyer. So I recommend him highly. But what I remember and what I know is that he is saying that as at now, the honorable member for Abetifi South or so.
Yes, Brian
Achampong. Honorable Brian Achampong.
This has been able to provide documents. Way beyond the 15 million.
But he's saying that
threshold.
There is a court process which will be dealt with on Monday, for which reason...
There's one thing, according to lawyer Andy Apiakobi, there's a certain... petition against him. I mean, there's a certain petition that made it impossible for Wontumi to be released.
Yes.
Maybe they are going to have to look into that one as well before going back to this whole other issues.
The understanding I have is that Njubuesi Akon, as we popularly call Wontumi, was granted bail within the 48 hours.
Okay.
But what it is at stake at the time there was agitation was the quantum of the bail sum that is to be met before his release. What I want to say is that the law does not, the law that regulates bail, that's the Constitution and the Act 30 criminal procedure. But the practice direction on determination of bail and consequential matters has clarified the issue of bail as to the quantum you should give. It says that when it comes to crime involving money or property, in granting the person bail, you must look at the quantum of the property or the money involved. You cannot grant somebody bail below that quantum, looking at the circumstances. So I want to believe that the quantum the IOCO had taken into consideration, the quantum of the crime for which he is being held. That is why they have imposed that 50 million. You realize that if you look at the case of Atuesien, the former Beige, you realize that their bail sums were very huge. Some of them over 100 million. It's because of the monies that were involved, that is why they were given that quantum. So I want to believe that, I want to speculate at this stage that, I want to believe that the money involved in the Chairman Wontumi case, I believe that it will be even be more than 50 million. That is why they have imposed that condition. But what it is that when you are given a condition that as a lawyer, your client is given a condition, the court has its own powers to vary even the court's own bail condition. You go to court and say that, looking at the status of my client, we are differently situated. So this is what he can get, looking at the circumstances. We realize that in the Kwabena Duboahene case, when IOCO imposed the condition, the lawyer went to court and said, court, vary the bail terms for me. And we all heard that the court varied the bail condition. But I think that where we are now, we have gone beyond the bail condition, of Wontumi, that there is other charges or other persons who are looking for him that needs to be dealt with. But the information I gather around is that the way it appears to be an international something that cannot be dealt with by IOCO. Because the way the lawyer says that it is the court that can, after the court process, that he can be released. And what other people have also told me shows that it involves an international something which we are all speculating. We all don't know because the lawyer has not disclosed.
It hasn't been officially indicated.
Disclosed to us. Because if he has met the bail terms imposed by IOCO, then he should be released. But if you look at the demeanor and the composure of Senior and the Apia Kubi, it tells you that there are weightier matters, which he said that it can only be, it is a legal issue. It is not emotions or any other thing. So I believe that Monday, when they cross that bridge, Chairman Wontumi will be released. And we must all understand that, as I said from the beginning, liberty, the right to move around, is so fundamental that it should not be taken. And the court have also said that that exercise, it is not magisterial or an executive power, but it is a judicial power. And before a judicial power is exercised, there are certain factors that will be taken into consideration. And I'm sure that IOCO has taken those factors into consideration. And I want to say that IOCO has lawyers who have practiced criminal law, both in private practice and with IOCO. And I believe that they are guiding the chief executive to be given. I know that they work as a team. So we must all we all know as a lawyer, when your client is detained, you are uncomfortable. When your relative is detained, you are uncomfortable. But I think that the composure of the lawyer has given me an indication that everything within what IOCO is doing, they are working within the law. Otherwise, lawyer Apia Kubi will be the first person to be raising the red flags. Yesterday, I listened to him and he says that IOCO has to even wait for them to come around 8 p.m. When they are supposed to close. So I believe that so far so good. What the lawyer has given to us, who has direct contact with IOCO, is what I will work with at this point in time. And I want to believe that Iyoko has worked within the law. We might have certain disagreement, we must have, but the question that I want us to answer is that as Ghanaians, we all have the same right. If you look at the Constitution, it says nobody is above the law. So let us not begin to have classes of citizens, that if you are not a politician, or if you should be treated differently, and if you are a politician, you should be treated differently. I want to see Ghanaians rise up when other individuals' rights are being curtailed beyond the constitutional right, the constitutional mandated right, for us to rise and make the noise we make in case of politicians. I am so uncomfortable in this regard. We were all here when Afoko was detained for a very long time. None of us demonstrated. We didn't even demonstrate against the court that Afoko's right was being curtailed. I was involved initially in the Afoko case, but because of politics, I withdrew from the case. I was initially involved. So we must begin to, as a nation, begin to treat each other equally. That is why young people, when you speak to them, they want to go into politics because they feel that there is a certain level of protection, which should not be the case. The protection is available to everybody. The Constitution does not limit it to politicians. If you look at it, I always tell people that when the Ghana card was being issued, each and every one of us had one. Voters card, each and every one of us will have one. If your name appears to us, it's a crime. Yeah. So that is the way the law looks at all of us. So we should not begin to, I'm uncomfortable as a lawyer that even if the right of Wontumi has been breached, what happened tomorrow when my right as an ordinary person, or as the law will say, an ordinary Ghanaian in the trotro from Medina to Accra, if that person is detained for a long time, what is the reaction of Ghanaians, or what is the reaction of political parties? We must see it across board. If they begin to do it that way, we will not take them serious.
What I want to find out is, can these kind of demonstrations and picketings and all that coerce maybe any official into doing something different from what the law says?
I think the right to demonstrate, I'll deal with that. The right to demonstrate is a fundamental right. But there are guiding principles.
Have any of these principles?
I believe that we are all in this country where people have gathered and they've been arrested for unlawful gathering. In recent past, as late as last year, people were arrested because their gathering was unlawful. I want to believe that when you want to do this demonstration, the Public Order Act, which came out of a case, has given the guidelines.
People were raising issues. People were thinking that the premises, the precinct of, Yoko and all those places are not proper places for demonstrations and picketings. What do you think about that?
I have always had issues when security people say this is security linked or relation, this is intelligence-led. I believe that Chairman Wontumi will not be the only person to be in Iyoko cells. And immediately you begin to gather around that place, they see it as a security threat, as the security people will say. And I believe that this demonstration, when you are doing this demonstration, you don't appeal to the administrative body because there are grounds that you can appeal to. You go to as the lawyers will do that, oh, our client, he's sick, maybe he has a special doctor, he has a special hospital, he has a special condition, so release him to us. This demonstration, I believe that with the kind of politics we are doing, I don't think the administrative bodies don't yield to this level of demonstrations.
All right.
And this level of demonstration, you see, we must have a genuine cause to begin to do this. As they were telling us, they were saying that this is a Rambo Star arrest, but I think that Iyoko, having worked with them, before they will arrest you, they will tell you the reasons, they will tell you your right, and even touch you and tell you that they are subjecting you to an arrest before they will arrest you.
All right, so we'll come back. I'll come back to Dr. Rashid Tanku, but let's engage Professor John Osei Kwapon. He's on Zoom. Prof, if you can hear me, welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right. So, Prof, we are looking at Chairman Wuntumi's issue, and from where you sit, what do you think? I mean, generally, what do you think about what has happened so far?
Thank you very much. So, for me, one of the key points of reflection for me has been the reaction of what I want to call the nature of our partisan politics. And so if you look at from the initial attempt to arrest him, the invitation to come and meet with, I believe it was the CID initially, and then the subsequent arrest by Yoku, which then sparked the reaction, particularly from members of his political party. It brings up how we deal with the issue of what I call post-regime accountability. And why do I say that? So for me, there's always that tension between how do I make sure that I am providing that moral support for a party member who is in trouble without seeming to send the message that I oppose any kind of accountability if there are alleged acts of impropriety that must be looked into. And so that for me has been the point of reflection for me as I watch these events unfold, right? That you don't want to be sending the message that accountability is only for a certain group of persons and not for everybody else. You also don't want to come across as opposing any legitimate form of accountability if there are genuine reasons to look into any acts of impropriety. At the same time, those who are in charge, right? So your Yokus, your CIDs, the security forces, those who are in charge of ensuring that, people are brought to book and people are brought in to answer whatever questions they need to answer, also engage in the kind of conduct that is beyond reproach, right? That it can pass the test of time when it is subjected to public scrutiny. And for me, those are all of the dynamics at play. But in the end, for me, you again want to make sure that things are done the right way, and that as the lawyer said, you also want to make sure that you're protecting the fundamental rights of persons when it comes to issues of life and liberty.
So far, where do you place it? Maybe we are looking, because you see, our democracy is respected by a lot of people. So most of these times when things like this happen, I am particularly concerned about how we will be seen. I mean, those outside this country will see us. So looking at how it has played out so far, what would you say? People who are watching us from afar, what would they say about us?
If you going on all the official information that has been provided, right? That one, that there was a warrant. The arrest is based on a warrant. That there are allegations of crime for which they want the chairman to provide certain answers. It's the reason why they have set the bill and the bill conditions at the level at which they have set. I am sure that there's a basis and a reason for why the bill conditions were set the way they've been set. So far, for me, it appears as though at least the authorities are following, all the processes that are designed to be followed. If my understanding is correct, if there are issues or challenges with the bill condition, there's a way of dealing with that, which is going to the courts to ask that those conditions be varied. From what I'm reading this morning, someone has filed a case in the High Court. So this is how you expect democracies to deal with due process, protecting the rights of an accused person, but also ensuring that you do not, violate any of these processes. You make sure that you go through the rightful processes. As for the politics, sometimes I'm not sure how you deal with the partisan politics that emerges out from some of these things, especially if you look at the response of the sympathizers of the main opposition party, which is the NPP. I know that two issues they have raised is the manner in which the chairman was arrested, and also they've raised questions about the bail conditions and it being too high. But overall, for me,
do they have a point?
You expect the process to.
Do you think they have a point there?
But a point in terms of
as in
the bail conditions,
the concerns there is the bail condition and how it was whisked away and all that.
Well, I mean, on the point of how he was arrested, yes. I mean, if you want to effect an arrest of an accused person, I'm sure that you still want to do it in a way that, quote unquote, doesn't lend itself to be described in the ways that the NPP is describing as Rambo style, etc., etc. So yes, there I can see why they are aggrieved by the way it was done. But on the question of the bail condition, I'm sure that those who set the bail conditions, given the information they have, for which they are alleging that certain crimes have been committed, it is based on that they set those bail conditions. And if you want it varied, then the appropriate way to deal with it is to engage the legal process by going to the court to ask for it to be varied. So on that, my opinion is that those who set the bail conditions have information that perhaps I don't have and know why they set the bail conditions at that level.
So if you are consulted by any, investor and who wants to come and do business here in Ghana and, to give your opinion about how this whole thing has played out, what would you say? I mean, is it hurtful in any way to our democracy? Can anybody anywhere say that because of what is happening, I might not want to do business in Ghana or something of that sort?
I mean, I hope not. Democracies thrive on one of the principles that democracies thrive on is the principle of accountability. And in particular, accountability tied to the rule of law, that the law is no respecter of persons, big person, small person, regardless of your standing in society, right? That the law treats everyone equally. And so, again, for me, I won't look at this incident, and if I was being asked, based on this, should someone then say, I don't want to visit Ghana or I don't want to invest in Ghana, I wouldn't discourage them from that, right? I mean, the legal processes are playing out, the law is playing out, accountability is being demanded. And I'm sure that even for persons who've been accused, will still have their day in court and their due process rights would be respected. And that is what I also expect of these law enforcement agencies to do. But I wouldn't look at this one incident and use that as a deterrent for someone to be turned off or turned away from Ghana, because again, democracies thrive on accountability.
Will you call it witch hunting?
No. And you know why? We've been engaged in this cycle of political persecution and witch hunting. When I say we've been engaging in it in terms of the rhetoric, right? So if you go all the way back to the first turnover election in the Fourth Republic, right? You would find incidences where when former President Kufuor was pursuing, certain acts of alleged corruption, that you would see references to this is political witch hunting, this is political persecution. Anytime there's a turnover election where a new government is trying to engage in post-regime accountability, you would get that narrative emerging. The one way we can deal with this, if we want to reduce this accusation of any attempt to hold persons accountable after a turnover election, it being political witch hunting, is to try our best to engage in more of what I call in-regime accountability. So when you are in power and there are acts of impropriety that there's evidence to support that, then you make sure you hold those persons accountable. Because when you do that, it reduces the potency of a new government taking over and having to carry that burden of, quote unquote, looking into some of these cases and then ending up in a process where we get into this partisan issue of it's witch hunting, people haven't done anything, and you're just using political power and political authority to come after them. But that at some point, that vicious cycle has to be broken. And one of the ways, in my opinion, you break it is if we do a better job of holding our own people accountable when we are in office and not leaving it up to the next government to do that.
If you just join us, this is Inside Pages on Metro TV. I am Kwaku Owusu Eje, and I am sitting in for your regular host, Boro Wudu. Let me come to Dr. Sopho Rashid Danko, computer. Sopho, I'm sure you've also been watching what's going on. Would you say this is earning your government, or your party some points?
Let me say good morning to you, I too, and then council, as well as Prof, and then the good people of Bimbilla constituency. That's my hometown. I'm inviting you. We're having this Eid festival. I want you to come to Bimbilla. It's a nice place. You'll love it.
Are there some tourist sites?
Oh yeah, a lot of tourist sites. You have plenty yams, and it's a place that you love. Try to visit there.
Oh, it's a tourist site because there's yam.
Yes, plenty. Not only yam. A lot of sightseeing and tradition, culture of the people. It's what you enjoy when you come to Bimbilla. I invite you to come. You will like the place. Very serene, cozy place. Now let's face it. You see. Council said it all. He educated the general public about issue of warrants and then a bond. You see, the hypocrisy in this country is now reaching crescendo, and we have to do something about it. We are becoming hypocrites. And see, what we are doing to the generation coming is not good for this country. We must face it. Governance, like he rightly put it, the fact that you are a politician or you are a party position holder doesn't absolve you from being investigated by the security agents. That is what we are getting to. And the absurdity of it is just reaching a highest level. Sometimes you ask yourself, what is wrong with these people? Is it because they lost miserable in 2024 election? It has affected their understanding of some of the principles of how to go about bail bonds and all this kind of thing. There are fine lawyers among them. In fact, very brainy lawyers among the MPP. But you see, they are not talking law. They are talking of populism. That is what they are doing currently. They are not talking law. They are not even going by the tenets of legal distance. They are doing populism, and they are using the platform for campaigning. You know, some of them are there doing campaign just to show face so that the delegates will give them a reverence against. That is what they are doing. All the people who are doing that, you see, they had leadership crisis among MPP currently. The leadership that led them to the 38%, they are on their neck. So they need to do something about it. So anytime there is simple matter, they will hold on to it as a big, huge mountain, expecting everybody to climb on it. What is wrong? Look, these gentlemen they are talking of, even under their regime, MPP, they were looking for him. On several occasions, leadership of MPP had cause to call on the presidency to do something about Akunta mining. And he's the leader of Akuntama and his behavior. This man will go on TV and showcase gold and say all manner of things. And when they were destroying the forest cover, the presidency was at his back, supporting him, and told the whole world, even before they could launch investigation, his behavior in Nimli Forest and all that things. The president wrote a love letter to Akuntama. He stood in a public platform and said the man was not involved in anything. But what did we see? We followed up through his own party people. Look, the learned Deputy Attorney General, Justice Simsai, gave glimpses of some of the issues that is being investigated. Huge crimes. Huge crimes.
I saw that on
You saw those things. They are not telling their people the truth. This man is involved in issues that he cannot be let loose with some bail bond of some 10,000 or some 20,000. Zero financial crimes. Borders on international crimes as well as, look, financial loss to the state, where people will just use 419 means, crooked means, to go and involve themselves in money laundering and all that. Because of that, CID and other people, they are fishing out for the properties of this gentleman to put their hands on it. At the end of the prosecution, he found this thing.
You seem to be giving us
No,
insights.
I'm saying, no, the thing is that
you are
the deputy,
aware of the fact that CID is
the
looking
deputy
into
attorney
this
general
material.
said it. Didn't you see? He published it.
That-
He said CID is also looking at some of the properties, and they want to be sure that those ill-gotten proceeds from these crimes was not what was used to purchase those things. If it does happen, they will confiscate them to. In fact, our agenda as a government these days is not only looking for prosecution, but to recover the loot. You see, people have designed some strategy pass. They will loot the state and prepare themselves for some 5 or 6 years jail term. After that, when they come back, they continue to enjoy their loot. So nothing, they lose nothing. After all, if you go into a prison for 5 years, you are just going to be resting there while your properties are waiting for you. For the long work you have done for the pay, if you are given some 5 or 3 years to go and rest and come back, have you suffered anything? But no, the state is going to recover those loots this time. We will recover it from you. We won't allow you. Because it's for the good people of this country. And this is what His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is going to do. And that is why they are feeling uncomfortable. That he's going after them. You see, this 50 million bond thing that they are running about, I'm happy the council just mentioned it to you. Tell me, has anybody violated the right of Wontumi under this constitution? No. If you think that the bail bond was too huge, you know the place to go. You go to the law court. I'll give you an example. Look, Adu Bohini, the former Signal Bureau chief, when a bail bond was placed on him, Learned Counsel Atachia saw that it was huge. They couldn't meet the bail bond. What did he do? He went back to the court. He filed that the court should do something about the bail bond because they couldn't meet the bond. To him, it was huge. The court reasoned with him and reduced the bail bond for them to pay. That's how Adu Bohini got his freedom. Did the state prevented them from getting that one? Did the Attorney General or anybody prevented them from going through that tangent? It's a law. The law is a law. We are in the era of the law is a law. Why is it that this time around, they don't want to go to the court? They rather hit in the street. What are you telling the generation? What are you telling the youngster? That we should sidestep the Constitution and now go to the street to get justice. Do you get justice on the street? What are the law courts doing? What are our legal education doing? So the young lawyers who are going through training and that thing, they should now be going to the street to look for justice. What kind of thing is that? When I say they are indisciplined, bunch of indiscipline, they say we are attacking them. But this is pure indiscipline. And that is why, look, Apia Kubi, he's an astute lawyer. He understood this thing very well. You see how he has been explaining it out. He knows that what his colleagues are doing, it doesn't make sense. It completely doesn't make sense. That's why he said, when you are entering a house, you don't throw stones. You are going to enter in a house and you pick stones and you are throwing into that house. Can you enter in that house? You don't do things like that. The man is under lawful custody. Get the bail bond, come and they will remove him for you. Release it.
But true, I mean, of a truth, you would have done same if you were in MPP's shoes.
No,
I'm talking about that.
No. You see,
I mean, this is how you politicians.
Let's face it, Paito. Let's face it. Mm-hmm. Look, do you know that they held our national chairman then, Dr. Ampofo?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see us on the street jumping around and making all manner of noise that the man should not go and appear before any investigative body? For damn well over 5 years, the man was going to court day in, day out. He was a national chairman of the NDC. Look, you see, we must allow the security agents to do their work. If you think that his right has been violated, we have faced it several times. That's why I'm saying that when I heard them saying that they were going to diplomatic mission, I said, MPP, you just left office 5 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
5 months. These agents, diplomatic missions, they were in existence and they saw what you were doing. You declared the Flagstaff House a huge security zone. Nobody, even daytime, nobody could dare come near there. People, look, we're talking of lawful gathering. The law is very clear about how to go about demonstration. Now look at what they did. From Parliament, stood up, announced that we are boycotting Parliament session because we are going to support our chairman, Ashanti Region. And bam, everybody was there. They were demonstrating on the street. That's unlawful gathering. But you see, we are lovers of democracy. The NDC, we brought the democracy that we are having. In 1992, they were campaigning that we should vote no against it. We stood our grounds. In fact, we were young guys who were campaigning in the community that we should vote yes. We want to come to democracy. Although we are PNDC guys and all, we wanted the democracy to come in. And these people who are now trying to talk as if they are champions of democracy, they were all over the place saying that Ghanaians should vote no against. I remember Adu Bahin and Co. leading the charge. And the democracy has come to stay. Now, that is what is telling us that these MPP people, they don't respect our democracy. Because you see them, the remnants of them on the street, their utterances and their behavior. Thank God we have a fatherly figure like His Excellency John Dramani Mahama as the president of Ghana. It's a fatherly figure. He respects our democracy. He respects everybody's rights in this country. So no, let them do what they want to do. The security will also do their work. The lawyers of Wontumi, they know what to do. The law court is there. They should go there. Go there and seek for redress. That this 50 million we cannot pay. This is how we can do it. But I'm told one of them brought it. Why is it that all of them? You see, we know them, all those who were there. We know what they are. You see, why is it that none of them want to bring the 50 million? They have it.
You think they have 50
They have it. Whether or not people who open bank accounts in their rooms. You know, in this country where you have somebody having millions of dollars, millions of pounds, and all manner of currencies under the bedroom in Ghana here. Is a person not being investigated? Where did they get the money from? We heard all stories of people putting monies in poly tank, sitting in their houses, appearing as if water tanks. And but their money, dollars, and all this. Why were they putting it? You see, they have it. But none of them wanted to bring it to come and bail the same with me. So that's what I'm saying, that these people, they know what they are doing. We all know. And they didn't want even to go to court because the enormity of this.
You're sounding as if this is not going to be the end of it. There are a lot of people on your wanted list.
Look, for that one there, I can assure you, even the Attorney General, Leonard Attorney General, just yesterday or so, he announced the docket for the cathedral.
Mm-hmm.
You know the mathematical cess issues. You remember the issue of mathematical cess? Somebody procured mathematical cess. You know, I've been buying mathematical cess since time immemorial. In the 80s, we were buying it. I bought one for my children who have gone to recently. I bought one for my child who's going to write GSS. I know the cost of mathematical cess. Do you see the prices they put MPP for mathematical cess?
So this is going
all this in there's coming. You know the SHS Wi-Fi matter. Mm-hmm. Wi-Fi. They say they put Wi-Fi in all SHS. The matter is coming. The doctors are ready. People are going to be hot very soon. Because look, we cannot allow the country to be run the way it was run. Dissipate state properties, and now we have to be grappled with a lot of debt all over the place. And government is now trying to put things together and recover the loot. Then people will go and hide behind political clouds and make all manner of ogle noises and think that the security should not do that. We are not going to relent on it. And I'm saying that as a political party, NDC, we are supporting His Excellency John Dramani Mahama government 24/7. We are supporting him on his quest to recover all the loot. being looted by these people.
Don't you think that maybe, going forward, the issue should be handled in a way that will not make people nickname it Rambo-style arrest and all that? You see, because you seem to have, information about people who are going to be arrested going forward. I'm only asking that in order not to mar what we are seeing. CD is doing well, fuel prices are going down and all that. So how do you think this should be managed so that it will not, mar the beauty of what we are seeing so far?
It's not marring any beauty. The law agencies are doing their work. Look, we have some adage in our local palace.
Sometimes
that look, if you don't steal saltpeter, saltpeter, in the market, you don't run in the market. It is only those who have stolen saltpeter, they run in the market square. Do you get that? But you have not stolen any saltpeter. Why should you run? Why should you have it? When people went to Yoko, and some of them, they whispered into their ear that Yoko is even looking for some of them, they ran back. You didn't see them in their stand.
That happened.
It happened. Some people ran back. Yoko is looking for them. They've been hiding. But they brought them. So they didn't know that their list is among Yoko that to be investigated. They ran. You see, what I'm saying that the thing is, if you have not done anything.
Are you saying this in jest or it's something that really happened?
That happened. I'm telling you. You see, nobody is going to victimize anybody in this country.
Some of the top officials who went there,
I am saying that,
happened to be on the wanted list of Yoko.
Did you see them again? Did you see some of them? They ran away. I'm saying the truth is that government is not a vindictive government. His Excellency is not the vindictive one. He's not going for his opponent for anything. What we are doing currently is that please bring back the loot. Look, behind the scene, if you bring back the loot, we have no problem with you. Some have done it. Some have done it. Do you know that some people have done it? Behind the scene, they brought back, look, take your thing. I don't want trouble. And that one there, you are not hearing any trouble with us with them. Those who think they can conceal it and hide it anywhere.
Will not be pressed against those who have voluntarily
You see, so the council is here explains to you. There's always a what we call plea bargain or something like that in law. I mean, that can mitigate your issues and all that. And so if people are voluntarily behind the scene, walk into the agencies and decided that, look, enough is enough. Me, I don't want trouble. Take your this in your lands. I picked state lands. I bought this big land. It was not this. Take it back and all that. I mean, it's enough. It has shown patriotism.
And it will be treated. It will be treated on the slide, just like
no, not on the slide. There's other things we'll deal with that. But let's deal with this one to me, man. And I'm saying that matter, the gentleman is under lawful custody. And the only way they can mitigate his matter is to go to the law court. I'm happy, I think I saw a writ like that from his lawyers, that they filed something at the High Court about that matter. That is the right thing to do.
Okay.
Let them go that tangent. They should leave the street. Because that kind of thing they are doing, it won't bring to me this freedom that they are looking for. Nobody has this step on his liberties, or nobody is going to say that. They should look at bail bond. In fact, counsel is here. I'm a student of law. I'm not a lawyer. He's a full-blown lawyer, a well-trained lawyer. He will tell you, when they put bail bond on you, they compare that one to your alleged crimes that you have committed. So that in an event that you are right, because the crimes are so huge that when you get the slimmest of opportunity, you can run away. Because the investigators, the way they would have grilled you to take your words, your statement, you would have known that, hey, the tangent they are going, if I get opportunity, oh yeah. So they will put a huge bail bond on you. So that in an event you abscond, they will get you. And so this one, the lawyers know this thing, and they know what is in it.
All right. So
and the appeal could be told them, his own people, when you are entering a house, don't throw stones.
All right. So
they should take that West into your hands.
Let's take a break. If you've just joined us, this is Metro Television, and you are listening to Inside Pages. My name is Kweku Owusu Eji Pato, and I'm sitting in for my brother Moro Awudu. We are taking a break. When we come back, we're still on the case of Chairman Wontumi.
makes you do what you otherwise would not do. Wealth makes you live the way you wish to live. But revenge cancels the lines between poverty and riches.
It's either you're saying something progressive, or I'll just tell your wife that I'm carrying your child.
Where is my father? Now that he's coming closer to the community,
Papa Pig go forget your own plans, so I go forget my own.
The trophies are in Ghana, the heaviest trophy in the world now. Heavier than the Oscars trophy, heavier than the Grammy trophy, heavier than the BET trophy. The most expensive trophy now has arrived in Ghana for the Ghana Celebrity Impact Awards, GCIA. I bet you would want to hold it. I bet you would want to see it. Feel it. I bet you would want to touch them. Okay, grab your tickets. Reserve your table for the night of unforgettable experience. Date is 7th June 2025. Time 5 p.m. Red carpet. 7 p.m. main event. The venue is the Conference Center Arena. For reservations, call 053-755-0058 or 053-7535-390. The Ghana Celebrity Impact Awards, celebrating impactful Ghanaians.
Now, this is an investigative body, and the investigative body had invited Wontumi. Now, the Rambo style with which they attempted to arrest him made us to be very cautious. Now, Wontumi himself drove from Kumasi to the premises of the police. After he had finished with the police, he was arrested in Rambo style to be sent to the Ioku. Now, he's been kept in custody for 72 hours now. Now, the bail condition they had given Wontumi suggests that this is unreasonable. They just want to detain him. We want the security agency. Now, what we're talking about, they are doing it to Wontumi today. If we are not conscious and we don't talk about it, they will do it to Kwame Enyimadu tomorrow. And the next day, they will do it to my sister Comfort Doyle.
In fact, they are behaving as if this is strange. This is not strange. Wontumi is not the first and it's not going to be the last. So if they invited him to come and answer questions, it's a matter of going there, answer your questions. They said bail. So look for people to come and bail you. On a quiet, you come up. But the way they were walking from Parliament to the place, and you can see how tired they are. So when they got there quickly, they sat on the floor. They didn't sit on the floor because they wanted, but they were tired. It's not necessary. They should rather go to court and argue about the bail. And this is not the first time they have given a bail that somebody couldn't get. They did it to Afoko. They themselves, they did it to Afoko. And Afoko remained in the police custody for 4 good years. So they have invited you. If we said we want to fight corruption, then we should allow investigations to go on peacefully and quietly. We shouldn't make noise about it. Or is anybody above the law? Nobody is above the law. If the law catch up with you and you are innocent, just go and prove your innocence. That's all.
Welcome back. This is Inside Pages on Metro Television. My name is Kwaku Owusu Ejay. Just to let you know, I'm sitting in for my brother Moro Audu today, and we are on Wontumi's case. We are looking at it as it is. With me here to do that, lawyer Theophilus Donko, Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer, and then Professor Kwao is also on Zoom. We are waiting to see if we can get called Vincent Esefua, who is also a legal practitioner and a member of parliament for Tafo Pankrono, to be, to join us via Zoom. So, lawyer, we were talking about how, looking at it as Ghanaian people, I am wondering if how we are going about it is earning us some political points. I mean, as a democratic country, I mean, they keep referring to us as beacon of democracy. And so if issues like this happen, what I look at is, those who are watching us from afar, how do they take it?
Thank you. There's something I want to refer you to, because you have brought in the issue of governance. Mm-hmm. You remember the case of one Frank Bene, who was a diplomat who was involved in a narcotic case.
Yeah.
So at the time we had the tribunals, he was denied bail, and he went to the Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal granted him bail. And at the time, Martin Alamisi was the Deputy Attorney General. He went to the Supreme Court to quash the decision of the Court of Appeal in granting Frank Bene bail. Because at the time, narcotic offenses were described as non-bailable. And then the Supreme Court, in deciding the case, I want to read a portion before I premise it on my submission. It says that respect for human rights is an attribute or an element of good governance, and all effort must be made to ensure its observance. So what the Supreme Court is saying, that was Justice Baredu, JSCRC then was that observance of human rights, which include liberty, is an attribute or an element of good governance. So in this Wontumi case, issue of governance is at play. But if you look at it carefully, and from what Andy Apiakubi has said, it means that there are two issues at stake now. The first with the arrest by Iyoko, which he has been admitted to bail. He has met the bail term. But there is a warrant from a court. And when a court issues a warrant, what the warrant means is that arrest the person and produce the person before the court. Then the court will deal with the person. And when I say dealing with the person, either the court will remand the person into custody or admit the person to bail or discharge the person based on the arguments that will be made in court. So I want to say that this does not really affect our outlook in terms of holding political actors or individuals accountable. So what would an investor be looking at? If I'm investing or I'm doing a business with a political person and that political person defrauds me, will the state agencies or will our governance system or will our laws allow that person to go through the process? So it is in another vein, if I'm advising my international client, I will tell him that, look, when you come to Ghana and you invest or you do business with any politician or politically exposed person, and that person find a way, uses his political power to deal with you in a way that is unlawful according to the laws of Ghana, the system will deal with the person. So we should also look at it that way, that the international community is looking at us that, oh, the law is not respectful of person. It can deal with anybody, no matter how powerful you are. That is the lens at which I'm looking at it. So that we shouldn't look at it that, oh.
But the powers that Wontumi wields, now cannot be cannot be compared as to how much power he was wielding earlier. You understand? If this had been a member of this government, the story would have been different.
So crime has no time limit.
I know, but what you're talking about,
yes,
the influence.
The influence. You cannot take away the power Wontumi wields. You cannot take it
even
away.
In this administration.
Now,
Really?
That is why the MPs could gather. You see, the arrest by Yoko, people are saying that it is Rambo Star. But you see that when he was invited, without inviting people, people gathered at the CID headquarters to welcome him and to see him off. So as security agents, they will look at it in that vein, that if we can marshal this kind of people, a whole Ashanti region is not a small region
Yes.
in terms of tradition, in terms of politics and everything. The MPP will tell you that when we have this margin in Ashanti region, we have won the election. NDC will tell you that when we have this margin in the Ashanti region, we have won the election. I heard an NDC person saying that once we have crossed the 30% mark, we have won the election. Whatever the MPP will do. So it means, it tells you that the Ashanti region is a huge one. When it comes to our traditional rule, if you even look at the constitution, Otunfo is treated differently from all other paramount chiefs. So Ashanti region is not a mere region. And you realize that the kind of vote he gets when they run their party election, the person who contests him doesn't get close to him. So you should know that he has a lot of power. When you say power, it is not about having power for government to influence within the government, but within the following that he wields in the Ashanti region and the country as a whole. I know some people who he's even supporting, he supports outside the Ashanti region in terms of parliamentary. So he has a lot of power.
But let's digress a bit to how the police have handled the issue. I mean, how the security persons have handled the issue so far.
So the police issue is different from that of Iyoko. Police issue is, I believe, is internal in terms of Iyoko, in terms of Galamsey. But if you look at the Iyoko matter, what has been put before us, that issue of money laundering across borders. So I believe that international persons are also interested.
Okay, so I'm talking about how they have handled. I mean, there have been pushbacks, and how the police is handling. I'm talking about the professionalism of the security persons, to the extent that tires were bent at places where people are not expected even to gather. And you know how, you know, some people, when the vice president visited, how some people were behaving and how the police went about the whole
I want to say that I have always worked with the police people, and then I've respected their professionalism in this, and in this particular case, because I was around the Iyoko area, and the way people were misbehaving, but the police kept their calm and tried to control. You realize that they were even pushing the barricade, but they were not pushing it against the ordinary citizen. It is because I believe that their orientation is that they have the state power. The state has wielded a lot of power, which is vested in the police. So I want to commend them for how they have professionally handled the issue, both at the Yoko premises, at the NIB premises. I acknowledge that they have been professional. Okay, because if they want to react, they would have been SSs, because they were SSs from the citizens, but they have kept their quiet. So I believe that on this occasion, they know me very well, that when they do good things, I will say it, and when they do bad things too, I will say it. On this occasion, they've done well, and they should keep it up.
Let me go back to Professor John Osai Kwapong. Prof, I would want us to situate this in governance and rule of law. You understand? How do you see this? How would you look at it? How these things are, I mean, how the police are conducting, how the security persons are conducting themselves as far as this issue is concerned?
Yeah, so I will agree with counsel when he commends the security forces, particularly in how they have handled the crowds that have gathered to show their support for Chairman Wontumi, as he's popularly called. Because again, the thing you don't want to do is police excesses or the extra use of force, right? Because when that happens, then it shifts attention away from the substantive issues at stake, and then sort of diverts attention more to state behavior and its treatment of citizens, etc., etc. So for me, I appreciate the fact that even in some of the videos that I have seen, right, that in some of the, even as you watch temperaments flaring up and people getting upset over what is going on, that the police have managed to be very restrained, just still trying to manage the crowds and keeping the peace. So I think for that, they deserve to be highly commended for that. Because throughout the years, over the course of the Fourth Republic, we've seen instances of heavy-handedness by the police in dealing with citizens in sort of protest situations. As a matter of governance and the rule of law, again, democracies pride themselves. One of the things they pride themselves in is the rule of law, which is that the law is no respecter of persons. And so for me, in trying to demonstrate that really, if there is a legitimate basis for inviting you to answer certain questions that borders on crime, then the state has every right to do that. You also want to make sure, though, that in exercising state powers, in holding persons accountable, that at every stage of the process, due process would be respected. Especially too, because if you look at 10 rounds of the Afrobarometer survey, there's a question about how often ordinary people who commit crimes go unpunished. And then there's a follow-up question, how often do powerful people who commit crimes go unpunished? And you see a perception among Ghanaians that we are more likely to punish, quote unquote, the ordinary person than we are to punish, quote unquote, powerful people. And so again, or other officials. So again, in pursuit of correcting that public misperception and in furtherance of rule of law and accountability, again, the state has to ensure that it probes all of these issues that emerge. But again, you want to do it in a manner that is fair, in a manner that is consistent with also the rules of procedure, etc., etc. Because at the end of the day, as former President Akufo-Addo would always say, not until you are in trouble, you would never appreciate the importance of due process. And you always want to make sure that you guarantee and respect that.
Would you want to count this as one of the things that is helping us deepen our democracy?
Yes, in the sense that, again, holding people accountable, for me, helps sort of further the cause of democratic governance. So that
holding people accountable, Prof, holding people accountable, yes, but I'm talking about this particular issue, how it has been handled so far. Is it playing any role in helping us deepen our democracy?
I mean, so far, as I mentioned at the beginning, I mean, so far, except for questions that have been raised about the way he was arrested and this reoccurring issue of holding suspects beyond the 48 hours as a result of issues of bail, I think generally you have the process unfolding in a way that I personally don't think it harms our democracy. The part that is worrying is the partisan politics that surrounds these things, right? And that if at some point our two main political parties do not get to a place where they can find a way to separate their partisan feelings from the importance of accountability, then this cycle would go on. Because already you do hear, if you, at least from some of the videos that I've seen, you'd hear phrases like, well, you will not always be a Yoku director. Someday we would, come into power. You have to think about prosperity and all of those things. When you do that, it also has a way of undermining trust in institutions. It has a way of delegitimizing legitimate state processes that are designed to hold persons accountable. So that for me is also the part where it becomes a challenge in strengthening our democracy architecture.
How has that played out, so far? What you just said, the narrative.
When you look at the narrative, in my opinion, it comes off as though the state has no legitimate basis for even looking into some of these alleged activities or demanding answers from the suspect, and that I find a little worrying, right? Because, it's also why I found it very helpful that the Deputy Attorney General put a statement out there explaining why they have invited the suspect and holding the suspect. That information is very important because in the absence of that information, you create a vacuum, and in that vacuum, you sort of enable political mischief that can be filled with all kinds of speculations and innuendos. So yes, in terms of how it is playing out, that is my worry, that if it continues to be deeply partisan, you delegitimize legitimate state processes that are designed to hold persons accountable for alleged crimes.
How about media reportage so far? How the media has handled it?
So far, the media has handled it well. They've covered all of the scenes. They've been reporting on the issues at stake. They've been reporting on whatever information that they get. And so, again, for me, one of the things that I hope the media also continues to do is, even as they give coverage to all sides of the issue and all the emerging disagreements, right, that the information piece, providing citizens with information, making sure that that information is accurate, making sure that it's the most updated kind of information in a way that doesn't heighten even our already heightened partisan temperaments, would also be very important going forward. But overall, I think the report has, media reports generally has been what I would expect media reports to be.
All right. So Ernest Adade is a member of the national communication team of the New Patriotic Party. He should have been in the studio, but I don't know why. But he's joined us on phone. So let's engage him. Brah, how are you doing? Mr. Ernest Adade, can you hear me? Can you? All right, so we'll reconnect and come back to him. Let's go. Let's come to Dr. Rashid Togo. Some people also think that you have, this is a blessing in disguise for the New Patriotic Party. You've afforded them an opportunity to, reorganize themselves. Your microphone is not on. Mm-hmm.
Yes, this is not a blessing in disguise. Initially, I told you, we don't want to operate a one-party system in Ghana. Mm-hmm. That is not the objective of NDC. To have one-party system where NDC will be the only dominant political party running for. We will wish our other parties well, but not this kind of hypocritical stand they have taken. We do know that most of them are out there campaigning. It's just a campaign platform for them. It's not about Wontumi. They are using that as a conduit to revive their dead political leadership. I mean, that is what they are trying to do. But we know very well that as a party and government, everybody who is doing lawful gathering, another thing, we will protect. Although their gathering was unlawful, you saw how professional the security agents were. I mean, they handled them well, make sure that nobody was attacked, even to the extent of the extreme provocation that you saw on television footage, what they were doing there. Some were trying to even bend ties and all that. Such lawless behavior was just unwarranted. But you see, the security did well.
Just a minute. Let me see if we can reach Ernest. Ernest, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. So you first tell us why you were not able to make it, and then you tell us what you think about how Wuntumi's issue has been handled so far.
Okay, thank you very much, and greetings to your cherished listeners and also my colleagues in the studio. Unfortunately, I have not been able to come there because I am around the Committee 25 area, the Pram area, and there is a terrible traffic on that road this morning. I've been on the road for well over 2 hours, and therefore I realized that it will be difficult for me to get in studio, and therefore I should be able to reach you via the phone.
You underrated the traffic, right?
I definitely underrated it for today. Today is worse than we have normally experienced on this road. So my apologies.
But you are coming towards town. Are you coming towards town?
Accra.
Will you pass by the BNI or maybe the Yoko to see Wuntumi?
I was definitely coming to the studio, and that was my agenda for this morning. If it becomes necessary that we pass through Yoko, why not? I wasn't privileged to hear the opinions of the other panelists, but I just heard a little of what Dr. Tanko just said, and describing the action from the opposition party, the NPP, as reckless. It will be unfortunate because we may end up seeing that.
He says it is hypocritical.
And that is why I said then we have a worse situation in their case, because you just yesterday, in November, December, thereabout, the whole parliament of the NDC walked to the Supreme Court in support of one of their colleagues. And that wasn't hypocritical. We have seen this phenomenon over the period for years now. And therefore, the party showing solidarity with a party chairman, no less a person than a regional chairman, a very influential member of the party as such, showing solidarity cannot be described as hypocritical. I beg to differ. They have the right to also...
Wouldn't you want to be interested in the case itself, so that before you solidarize with anybody, you understand? Wouldn't you rather want to know, how serious the case is? I mean, before you solidarize with a person. This
is the unfortunate side of the whole story. The situation where he was picked up arbitrarily, let me use this word advisedly. He was met on the street. I'm not saying Yoko is wrong picking anybody they think had offended the law in any way. I'm not saying that person, picking the person up, is wrong. But the CID invited the gentleman. He went to see the CID. He was on his way back home. If you need him, whatever reason why you need him, you should be able to arrest him anytime. But what I am saying is meeting him on the street, picking him up. Meeting him on the street, picking him up. And you see, people say that this is not wrong.
The arrest had to be effected. Doesn't matter where.
It doesn't matter where. It doesn't matter when. What matters is the way it was done. The how is the problem. And it's not like if he is a refugee, somebody who is trying to run away from the law. and you arrest him in that way, he's a terrorist. He is somebody you can describe as a dangerous criminal, and you arrest him in that way, we will all support you. What I am saying is, no, I haven't heard one MPP person saying if any MPP member had fouled the law, they have faulted in any way, they have mismanaged or embezzled any money, he cannot be picked up by the security agencies and questioned. But if you do it in a way that looks like you did it to us yesterday, because every single explanation I have heard from our colleagues from the other side, the majority, looks like you did it to us yesterday, today we have the power and we will do it to you, and you cannot say anything or do anything about it. That cannot be right. We are building a nation, and unfortunately, very unfortunately, this is happening in an era when you have told us that certain bad things have happened in the past. You campaigned on that premise, and you told the world that you are coming to reset this country, put what is wrong right. There was a virus that has affected this country, in your opinion, and you are coming to put an antivirus to it, reset it, and Ghanaians will build the Ghana they want. I'm asking you, the host. Unfortunately, I don't know who is hosting the show today.
Pato.
My own Pato. My brother, is this the Ghana you want? Where what BNI did yesterday, that was wrong. What IOCO did yesterday, that was wrong. What other state agencies, security agencies, they went and some used live rounds of arms.
You haven't, in your submission, been able to point to a particular reason this is not the right way to go. I mean,
Pato, when he was being arrested, the Constitution of Ghana, Article 19, the 3 tells you, there's a lawyer on the show, tells you if you want to arrest me, you have the right to arrest me. Even as I'm sitting in my car now, the police can come and arrest me. But what do? Read me my rights, tell me what I have done, and give me certain privileges that are guaranteed under the Constitution. Is that what we did? And the explanation is that you did it yesterday, we are doing it today. And that is what I am questioning. I have never questioned the arrest.
That's not what IOCO is saying. You're saying that's what, I mean, that's the commentary being run by your brothers on the other side. But the police itself has not said they arrested Wontumi because somebody was arrested some days ago. The police is
no, I mean, what I'm saying, Pato, give me the charges against Wontumi now, for which reason he is being held and there is no bail granted to him. And he has to spend the weekend in their premises. Can you give the people who are listening to us the reasons? So that they will judge whether it warrants.
Well, if you've been listening to Andy Appiah-Kubi, who is Wontumi's lawyer, you would know why he's still being kept. You understand?
That is what I'm saying. I wanted you to repeat what happened, because if you give him a bail condition, that they are saying this bail condition, does it merit whatever crime you are charging him for? They are not saying do not arrest the man. Treat him like anybody you have arrested, like any Ghanaian will be treated. That is why I am not going against IOCO for the arrest. I'm not speaking against what they have done. I'm speaking against the way they have treated him differently from how they would have treated any other Ghanaian. Because if you arrest anybody, he went for a loan or whatever reasons you adduce, he did whatever reason, there are laws in this country. And I have always said that since 1992, we the people of Ghana had gone to choose the rule of law. And I believe that the tenets of the rule of law must apply to every single Ghanaian, treated fairly, guaranteed under the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. Don't treat me differently because I am an MPP person, and then when Pato is arrested, he is a journalist and he is treated differently. That is what we are questioning. We haven't questioned the arrest.
Now let me quote the lawyer for Chairman Wontumi, Andy Appiah-Kubi. He says, quote, "Let me explain the type of arrest that the type of arrest they made was an arrest under warrant. So there was an arrest warrant for Chairman Wontumi. So if there is anything wrong, it should be the law itself and not the approach. And this is the lawyer, the one representing Chairman Wontumi.
Okay, Pato. This, I have an issue with that. That is a different matter. It's different from what I'm saying now. Now that you have brought it, let's address it. What is happening now is that security agencies, and it's not today. That's why I'm being careful. I'm carefully choosing my words. The security agencies have used certain means and certain tactics of theirs to arrest people. And what I have just said is they seem to treat political people who are PEPs, politically exposed persons, different from the way they would treat everybody. And what I am saying is that if the lawyer is saying the people brought a warrant, he is a lawyer, and I am saying I don't want to question why the warrant will be granted to arrest somebody in this kind of style, somebody who is not running away. He's not running away.
No, it is the style that the lawyer is talking about. The lawyer doesn't have anything against the style. I mean, he
is
says
speaking
it's a
as a
lawful
lawyer.
style.
I'm speaking as a political communicator. And I am telling you that
So
if
you
they
are-
were
are
coming,
you-
if
are
they
you
were
putting-
coming
are
to
you
arrest
putting a
Pato,
spin on it?
I am not putting a spin. I am saying that as a political person, he, the lawyer, is applying the law the way it is. But we believe that the law, somebody might be abusing the law, using the law. What I'm saying is somebody wanted to show to me where power lies one way or the other, or some political person who is on the other side one way or the other, and therefore we will treat him in a way. Do you think that I am not showing Iyoko how they should approach their things? But I don't believe that if Wontumi was arrested or was invited, let me put it that way, he wouldn't have appeared, because he has given us an example already to live by, that when they invited him to CID, he said, I'm not well, my lawyer is out of town, I will come, and he went. So the point I am making is that Wontumi hasn't gone to commit murder or any other crime that judges or lawyers can say that we will hold the suspect who will interfere with investigations. The charges they have given Wontumi, is there any way he's going to interfere with what they are doing? And for that matter, he has to be held without bail. They should give us a reason. That's the point. I am seriously, carefully approaching this thing from the political angle, because we are seeing it as a political attack and not the law enforcement agencies doing their job.
All right.
They are using their positions to abuse the power that the state had vested in them to protect the people of this republic we call Ghana. And what I am saying is, if you think that they did it to you yesterday and you want to visit the same crimes on them,
all right.
I'm saying crimes because yesterday the NDC called it a crime.
Okay.
The NDC called it against an attack against freedom and justice.
All right, all right.
And now
Ernest.
that we are here and you are repeating the same
Thank you
thing,
very
how
much,
are
Ernest.
you describing yours?
Thank you. Dr. Achitanko, so he sees this as an attack. You know, we have given you powers and you are abusing the powers. And on the very people who gave you the power, you are overwielding it. You are abusing it.
Well, I'm happy he didn't say that we are violating any constitutional order. I'm happy he didn't say that. He was talking of politics, and I'm happy that he was relying on political games, not the law as it is. And I'll repeat, the law is the law. Nothing has changed. I mean, nobody has violated anybody's right. He has made it very clear. He's talking of politics. Politics has nothing to do with implementation of the law. This is clear legal matter. And he's under lawful arrest. His lawyer is aware of that. His lawyer made it very clear to her. For the lawyer, and the appeal could be he will not double in this their political game thing. That's why he told them that when you are entering a house, you don't throw stones. There's a meaning to that. But unfortunately, most of them don't want to listen to him. They want to use it as a political game to revive their campaign. But you see, we are focused on delivering the goods. And we are saying that we want to sanitize the country, reset the country. Let's reset the institution, reset our mindset. Because there's a lot of things are going wrong in this country. That if we don't reset our minds, we are not going to enjoy the goodies. The president is on top of his job. Look, today, go to the pumps and see, fuel prices are still coming down. When they were going, they filled their tanks, their vehicles, and cruised to Yoko and other things. So that is the enjoyment they are getting from this government, the better Ghana that we are doing. And then and they are now getting a better administration of security activities. Because what they were doing, if the security agents were to use their same hymn book that they used when innocent Ghanaians went to demonstrate about this Galamsey issue, you know how they dealt with them? They used water cannons on them, arrested some of them, and locked them. They even wanted to prosecute them. This is the group we are talking. So when we talk of hypocrisy, it's an embodiment of these people.
All right.
And then clearly we are saying that, look, they should allow them. They know what to do. Look, that the gentleman, Wontumi, is not being persecuted. That one, nobody is persecuting him. We are just chasing him to make sure that if we found anything untoward with state resources and other, we will recover. That is the agenda of government, to recover the loot. All the other cases that is there, the agenda of this government is to recover, and then the other punishment which is there, will give it to you, and you go and enjoy your punishment, but you enjoy the loot. That one, they will make sure I will take the loot from you. We are not going to allow them.
Thank you.
And we'll make sure we recover them.
All right, thank you. Lawyer, your last words.
My last point is that political actors or communicators should understand that whatever institution, whatever they are doing it based on law. And if there's an infraction, the lawyer on record or with the lawyers will raise it up. So NS saying that he is looking at it as a political commentator, I believe that between NS and Senior and the Appiah Kubi is more political than NS. So, but he's looking at it. He's looking at it purely from the law point of view. That is the way we must all look at it. And when we are running political commentary, we should situate it within the law, so that it will make sense to every. And then the last point I want to say is that for the first time, I realized that there is a coordination between the investigative body and the Attorney General Department. That is the way if you want to recover loot properties. You don't leave the investigators to do their own thing. Then when they finish, they come and dump the docket on you. But if you look elsewhere,
they should do it in sync.
In sync. If you look elsewhere, you realize that, for instance, in the U.S., you realize that the state attorneys are part of the investigations.
Yeah.
And this is one thing that I've always been advocating for, and I see this one in the current Attorney General, and I want to encourage them. And I want to tell all Ghanaians that we should try as much as possible to have confidence in our state institution, not when a particular government is in power, but we should try as much as possible. And then the state agencies too, we should also try as possible to abide by the laws. And then last final point I want to say is that I want to say that if you don't want accountability, then don't come to public space.
I understand.
Thank you for
Prof. Kwapon, you want to give us your last words?
I think I'll just reiterate what the lawyer just said. Situate everything within the context of the law. Let the law play out. Respect the rights of the accused, but also in engaging in any kind of political commentary, ensure that you are at the same time not delegitimizing state institutions, because already our institutions are facing low levels of trust, as reported by citizens in Afrobarometer. And so our narrative, our rhetoric around some of these things should be designed in such a way that you don't further deepen mistrust in the process or in institutions. And then, as lawyer finally said, state officials must also make sure that how they behave throughout this process can withstand public scrutiny so that it doesn't undermine their own legitimate efforts to hold persons accountable for any alleged crimes that have been committed.
All right. So thank you very much. This has been Inside Pages. I sat in for my brother Moro Audu. My name is Kweku Owusu Ajay Patron. Let me use this opportunity to also, publicize my own show on Original. It's Adwene Kasa on Original between 2 and 5:30 p.m. each working day. So you would want to patronize that one as well. Thank you very much for joining us.
More than 80% of global trade is carried by sea. Most of the products we consume daily travel through ports, making them a key link in the global supply chain. The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority is committed to ensuring the enhancement, resilience and sustainability of port infrastructure and maritime trade. Get to know which vessel is bringing your goods, how much duty you are required to pay and how quickly you can clear your goods from the ports of Ghana. We ask the relevant questions and elicit responses from the appropriate authorities. We interact with you via our social media platforms and put your queries across to the expert. Iron Port shows this and every Sunday live on Metro TV at 5:30 p.m. Iron Port is proudly brought to you by and powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Iron Port, transparency in doing business and building nation.
We brought you the hottest trending music videos, insightful interviews with your favorite celebrities and some dance moves.
We also got your favorite celebrity talking about their deep, goofy and interesting sides you and I can see on cameras and social media.
But hold up, this season we are bringing you a whole new different vibe. Spanking new videos, top 5 countdown and the all new segment dubbed MVC Experience, where we bring you close to music, fun and more interesting vibes.
Join the vibe this and every Saturday on Metro Television.
Don't forget to follow us on our social media handles, MVC Official TV.
The trophies are in Ghana, the heaviest trophy in the world now. Heavier than the Oscars trophy, heavier than the Grammy trophy, heavier than the BET trophy. The most expensive trophy now has arrived in Ghana for the Ghana Celebrity Impact Awards, GCIA. I bet you would want to hold it. I bet you would want to see it. Feel it. I bet you would want to touch them. Okay, grab your tickets. Reserve your table for the night of unforgettable experience. Date is 7th June 2025. Time 5 p.m. Red carpet. 7 p.m. Main event. The venue is the Conference Center Arena. For reservations, call 053-755-0058 or 053-7535-390. The Ghana Celebrity Impact Awards, celebrating impactful Ghanaians.
Promoting good sanitation practices across the country was one of the major campaign promises of President John Dramani Mahama prior to assuming office. In fulfillment of the promise, he launched the National Sanitation Day to promote a clean environment. Many often than not, places of convenience in public institutions have become a great concern since people who have access to these places struggle to use the facilities. The urinal facility donated to the Anyaswoton police station is intended to provide a more hygienic and proper place of convenience for both police personnel and the public who visit the police station. Speaking during the handing over of the facility, the MCE for Gas Central, Emmanuel Alute, urged managers of the police station to ensure proper maintenance of the facility and urged corporate Ghana to emulate the gesture in order to promote good sanitation.
What I'm calling upon the police station at Anya is that they must make sure they maintain it in good shape. It should always be in good shape. With what they have done, I think they have shown that they can do more. So we'll team up with them and then ensure we do more in other areas. Like I told you, the Soton police station, the Israel police station, the Agbaje, and we're doing more. Aside that, our target is also make sure we have good sanitary, units at the various schools within the assembly, the market, the hospitals, the churches, and so on and so forth. We'll be doing that very much. We'll be doing that. And one of the things that we'll be doing now, we have a lot of tricycles that will be deploying to the various zonal councils, get riders, and make sure we collect all the rubbish, what we call the bola.
The Odoko Divisional Commander of the Ghana Police Service, ACP Kofi Sapon, promised the facility will be put to good use.
The District Commander whispered into my ears that they are going to have the modalities to help them keep the place clean, as we've seen today. That they are going to have a register. You come, you book for the key, and then when you are done, you return. But there will be someone who, when you immediately use the facility, will come and inspect the situation.
Director for the sales company pledged to build more of such facilities in other police stations and government institutions.
The Waste is Gold Tour project is an initiative by the Jospin Group intended to highlight the significance of waste management and the need for a sustainable environment. Schools, corporate institutions, and other organized groups are taking on a tour of the facility to be abreast of the company's operations. Students of the American International Schools in Accra were taken through the various processing stages of the facility by managers of Accra Compost Recycling Plant. Business Development Manager of ENS Waste Cluster and Coordinator for the Waste is Gold Tour, Gifty Opoku Ajiman, charged the students to be ambassadors of waste segregation.
People spend time digging grounds to find just an ounce of mineral, whilst there are waste scattered all over around us. What we generate in our homes, in our houses, wherever we find ourselves, is more than the gold that we are looking for down there. We see plastics around, we see, we make organic waste all around, but we are not able to recycle them. So the Waste is Gold Tour is an eye-opener. It's more like a guided tour to give to the people to have an attitudinal change when they have gone back to their various homes.
Some tutors of AIS applauded the efforts of managers at ACARP in creating value from waste generated.
I'm a pastor's wife in Presby Church. I'll make sure they know what to do, and I'm going to start in my home separating my trash. I will also make sure tomorrow in school we are going to collect the trash, the plastics around in school, and we'll make sure we educate the people around our school. I'm so glad I came here.
Environmental advocate and student of AIS, Kelvin Godson, advocated for the distribution of more waste bins to schools to enhance waste segregation.
What I notice here is when the waste comes, they separate it, the huge waste, the organic waste, plastic, metals, all that. But when you start the process from your home, it makes the job here easier. So at AIS, we just dispose our trash normally, indiscriminate. We put everything into one bin, which is why we requested for these bins, so we can separate them into organic waste and solid waste, and it will make your job here easier. So I urge all of you guys to start, if you can, separate your waste, even if it's a small rubber.
Ghana generates over 5 million tons of waste annually, with a staggering 40 to 60% uncollected and less than 10% being recycled.
Until now, residents of Ofosu relied primarily on untreated water from a dugout they constructed themselves or traveled over 3 kilometers to fetch muddy water, often competing with cattle. During the rainy season, they depended on rainwater for domestic and other uses. These sources, however, posed significant health risk and were highly unreliable, especially during the dry season. The assembly member for the Ofosu electoral area, Kofi Tabina, and a resident, Grace Kuma, recounted the daily struggles of accessing potable water in the area.
Where we are is a source of water for Ofosu community. We just came from the community. You saw how big the community is. And then you can see the nature of the water. We even share the water with cattle. Cattle come here to drink after grazing. For some time past, we experienced guinea worm. But as of now, it's better. What we encountered recently is bilharzia, because children also come to swim. The pools, students come to swim and then urinate in it. So as a result, we have identified some little cases of bilharzia some time ago. So it's very serious, and you can see the nature of the water. You can tell clearly from the physical nature of the water that it's not good for consumption. But basically, we have no choice.
The deep borehole for us, that it's choice. Anytime they repair it, it will concern us. So we need water. At times you have to go to the river far away. At the dry season, animals have been going there, drinking the water from us, storing the water. So we don't want that. So we get the company should come and help us for water aside.
However, the situation has changed thanks to the generous intervention of AgroCrown, a company specializing in farm inputs. AgroCrown spearheaded the construction of a 10,000-liter mechanized borehole and handed it over to the community. Director of AgroCrown, Nana Afo, explained the rationale behind the initiative and encouraged the community to develop a culture of maintenance to ensure the sustainability of the project.
Even when it rains, after the rain, we still need water. So this borehole is going to help uplift the health of the people. You can imagine, they were saying they were drinking together with cattle, which was not appropriate for their health. With this water, their health is going to be improved, their well-being is going to be improved as well. And so the government can also look at other areas where they lack these water challenges, and then the government can also step in to support.
The Nkwantel South Municipal Chief Executive, Joseph Entry, expressed gratitude for the support and called on other organizations to emulate AgroCrown's example in addressing water challenges in the municipality.
Exactly a week ago, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly began a decongestion exercise from the Central Business District through to the Kwame Nkrumah Circle and other key areas in the nation's capital as part of efforts to restore order and enhance mobility. Today, the news team is out here and we're going to take a walk through some of these areas to see if traders are still complying with the directives given them by the AME.
During a visit to the Kanishi footbridge close to the Kanishi market complex, traders who often mount their stands on the footbridge to ply their trade were nowhere to be found. The footbridge, which once served as an extension of the Kanishi market to many vendors, is now serving its purpose effectively. Pedestrians can now walk freely without any obstructions.
It's very nice. It's very nice, like abroad. I like it. So you should continue doing that. I mean, if somebody can give money to encourage, fine. I mean, it will be okay because now the town is fine.
First, we sing Kwanya baby I do 9 BC.
and I will see so no more muton there and see obi hwe ni bag yi ti so do be pim no be wi na de na ti sa ya ye market ama mu se mu nko Kanishi market koto ade o ma ka so ma so yedin anka oba akwa obeye interview se obon se aye busy unya bebe obaji na aye interview no won se se aye pam mo no won so obi akọ obi ahun pim obi hunkun obi nti ye da aban na se wa be se na me no eye.
The team made a stop at the Central Business District, one of the targeted areas during the operation. Traders who sell on the stretch behind Cocoa Board to the Adabraka Road were all seen engaging in their trading activities at the designated places without crossing the red line marked by AMA officials. The situation was no different at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle. The bus stop opposite the new plant station and the major pavements were all empty.
Mejidi so mo anka so mo yawe say hanye ena omo etiha. Nti say authorities no free say and that's so mo trahana so mo yunfi say is the right direction. Yeah, it's the right direction. Oh, ekwani dem me fa me nya baby fa de na so still no so mo yom edwuma. Because
it appears that the decongestion exercise, which began on May 20, 2025 by the AMA, has been successful. However, the question many are asking is, can the efficacy of the operation be sustained? Eke Ababu, Metro News, Accra.
Good morning and welcome to Living Well. My name is Ethel Popolampo, your resident nurse, and today we are going to be talking about multiple sclerosis, or MS, as you'll be hearing more often. So don't go anywhere. Let's take our first break. When we come back, you meet our guests and then the conversation begins.
Secretary.
Yes, boss.
Patron Fakot document in Bren.
Patron Medeba. Boss, Patron. Sorry, boss. Boss, na edrobe ne am say.
It's unti tontina 74 mixanka.
Wow.
Oba for general well-being.
Sir.
Very good. And money memani abet manum. Kope binato.
Any a crujio.
Kope binato. Ghana for say monim say medumani say metwitwa agi amanfo sa ena me hia edro a ebetwitwa agi me afi yare ahodro bebre na metumi agina me na so agi amanfo asemi num 74 mixture ema me apomodin e support me immune system na ema me asomdwe
edro yi nyama apemfo abata won ma wo manufo ene nkoda won nyimfie duwe FDA agi dwede nkrato yato.
Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath.
I'm a fair missy way.
The patch of Bantama.
Matthias.
It's her smile, the fresh breath.
Me, Jidi said we use Cal 360 toothpaste. Some kind. Cal 360 toothpaste.
Guys, Kia, Cal 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector.
Onim Jom Kasa.
Ile Hossein.
Cal 360 did the work. It's cool mint. Gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
And you will see so feeling to when you know Cal 360 toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Cal 360 toothpaste. anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath. Kale, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Right, and I couldn't agree more. To ensure good health, eat lightly, breathe deeply, live moderately, cultivate cheerfulness, and maintain an interest in life. Find habits that make you happy, that cheers you up. Even if it's as little as skincare, take time off, sit in front of your mirror. Make sure you are doing things that make you happy because, as I always say, you can't pour from an empty glass. And so it's important for you to do things that makes you happy. Before the break, I told you that we are going to talk about multiple sclerosis or MS. But before I introduce you to my guest, let me remind you that Living Well is brought to you by Tortina 74. Tortina 74 is a super immune booster for good